Comfortable? Tick.
Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my OG boy. Day we hustle, but the night we
Good looking? Tick.
I'm a OG boy. Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my
Readily available? Big tick.
boys by my OG boy. Day we hustle, but the night we
And cheap? Yeah, that too.
My name came up a lot, it sounds more when I was not around. Certain people that I know, they know
In this video, I want to talk about the Nike Air Max Excee.
around. Certain people that I know, they ain't no longer about. My name came up a lot, it sounds more when I was not around. Certain people that I know, they ain't no longer about. My name came
Let's get into it.
more when I was not around. Certain people that I know, they ain't no longer about. I'm a OG boy. Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my G boy. Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my OG boy. Day we hustle, but the night we OG boy.
What's up, everybody? You know I love sneakers. That's why I have got a channel on YouTube where the content is primarily about shoes. In fact, every single video I've uploaded so far has been about a pair of shoes. But I'm not all about that hype. I love a good bargain as well. I've got a view on the essential silhouettes that I think everyone should have as part of their sneaker rotation, but getting into sneakers can be a bit of a slippery slope. A couple of $100 here, a couple of $100 there, and before you know it, the piggy bank's empty. There are a bunch of different ways that you can go about building your sneaker collection, and your purchases don't always need to revolve around the hyped up, more expensive premium silhouettes that you often see Instagrammed or on your news feeds. There are a lot of takedown versions available of the more premium silhouettes that offer a really good look, comfortable to wear, and just work for everyday use. We'll back up for a second and I'll cover off the concept of a takedown. Put simply, a takedown is basically a stripped back version of a more premium silhouette. It's a budget option and it's a lot cheaper than its premium counterpart. It doesn't necessarily have all of the bells and whistles as far as tech and materials go, but most of the time they're offering a really good balance of performance and specs while retaining the name that's associated with whatever model it is that's been taken down. The best examples I can give are in the basketball realm, where those of us with a penchant for basketball shoes would be super familiar with the concept of a takedown. The Jordan shoes have the Jumpman series, LeBron's got the Witness, Kyrie's got the Fly Trap, KD has the Tray, the Why Not Zero series has the Take. The list goes on. It's probably a topic for another video, but I want to get to what is possibly the Air Max 90 takedown and talk about the Air Max Excee. The Air Max Excee retails for $130 here in Australia. That's some $40 cheaper than where the Air Max 90 start at here, which is $170. But the real value in the Excee is that it's often a model that's discounted, or whenever there's a sale, you will often find that the codes will always apply to the Excee, and sometimes the Air Max 90 styles are excluded from those promos. I can say with this killer colorway, I paid $90 for this shoe. It's a recently released colorway, so it's not like it's something that was aged, and I just think it's excellent value for something that does look pretty sweet. The Excee is different to the Air Max 90 though. I do call it a takedown, but it's probably best to say that it's a shoe that takes a lot of inspiration from the Air Max 90 model and then changes things up a little bit more. I think Nike call this a more modern take on the 30-year-old silhouette. The shape of the shoe itself is very similar to the Air Max 90, and we do have one of the more iconic features of the Air Max 90 in the Excee being the midsole wedge, except in the Excee we've got a more oversized version in a weird shape, and with the cushioning we have got an additional visible air bubble on the rear of the shoe. While the midsole wedge in this odd shape looks okay, the real issue I think with the design is in the text that they've used to write Air Max on the wedge itself. It's quite large and I think it's a little bit out of proportion with the rest of the shoe. Typically, or with the models I've seen, that Air Max writing blends into the color of the midsole wedge, so it's not a huge issue. But if there was a model where the Air Max text and the midsole wedge were different colors, I think it would look a bit odd having that font stick out, but that's a personal opinion. As far as the materials go in the upper, it's what you would expect at this price point with a mix of synthetic materials, leather and suede. This particular colorway that I've got kind of reminds me of the Earth Pack that Asics released. It's got those real warm vibes and there's a use of this cork-like material around parts of the shoe. It feels really nice or acceptable, I guess, at this price point, and it's really comfortable on foot. In comparison to the Air Max 90, they fit the same way, so go your true to size if you're looking at purchasing a pair of Excees, and are just as comfortable as a pair of Air Max 90s. I'm really happy that I came across these shoes. They're really comfortable, they're affordably priced, and they actually look really nice. There's enough difference between this and an Air Max 90 that you could justify having both silhouettes as part of your rotation. And if you're looking for a new pair of shoes and don't want to spend a whole lot of money on something, you can get something that is pretty trendy at a pretty good price. Having said that, if you are after a single pair of shoes, I'd probably spring the extra 40 bucks and go for the Air Max 90s, only because if you have one shoe to rule them all and you are keen on that Air Max 90 shape, there is nothing like the original. Anyway, I'm interested in your thoughts out there. Have you guys picked up the Exee or have you come across it? Have you seen them and then kind of discounted them because you thought that they were a cheap pair of shoes? Whatever your comments are, leave them down below, and until the next video, laters.